Self-sabotage doesn't look the way most people think, because it isn't recklessness, it isn't laziness, and it definitely isn't failure either. It's extremely subtle. It first shows up as delay, as ever-increasing hesitation, as choosing comfort over clarity, just often enough to stay stuck. And after 50, this becomes a problem, because by now, you know better. You've already seen the patterns repeat. You felt strong momentum slip before. So when progress repeatedly stalls, it's subtle avoidance. Now you might say to yourself, I'm just being realistic. But realism doesn't avoid action, fear does. And fear after 50 doesn't shout or draw attention to itself. It simply says, now isn't the right time. I can revisit this later. I don't want to disrupt what's working. But what's really happening is this. You're protecting an identity built on competence, experience, reliability. So you hesitate to avoid looking inexperienced again. You delay decisions that might expose uncertainty. You soften goals so failure feels a lot less visible. And that's not weakness. That's just mental self-protection. But it comes at an extremely heavy cost, because every time you lower the standard to feel safe, you're teaching yourself that comfort outranks clarity, that avoidance outranks action, that you don't fully trust your own skills and capabilities anymore. Over time, that becomes your ceiling, and the ceiling will become increasingly lower. This is why self-sabotage is so effective. It lets you fail without confronting your potential. No big dramatic collapse, no clear and obvious mistake, just quiet, consistent erosion. The men who break this pattern don't fight this fear directly. They change the environment that fear operates in. They remove optionality wherever possible. They simplify decisions. They set standards that don't wait for confidence to arrive. They act before they feel ready, not recklessly, but deliberately, because action creates clarity, and clarity builds confidence, not the other way around. And this is the shift that matters most after 50. You stop repeatedly asking yourself, how do I feel about this? And start asking, what does the standard require? That single question cuts directly through hesitation. It bypasses fear altogether, and it restores something many men quietly lose: trust in themselves, trust in their own thinking and in their own abilities. Self-sabotage survives on ambiguity, and standards will always eliminate ambiguity. Most men never even notice this pattern emerging, and the self-sabotage grows every passing year. But if you do recognize this pattern, you can end it easily, immediately, and for good. That's the edge, the primed edge. Subscribe if you know you still have untapped potential. Watch this video next.